It feels good to be back. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's video, if you look below and you aren't subscribed, please go ahead and do that. It gets us one step closer to a silver play button, and we are not very close. I think we're at 13 subs or something like that, so please, for the love of God, go subscribe. Also, while you're down there, you might as well leave a comment, go like, share, whatever. Go ahead and do all of it, but we got a great video planned for you today. It's a very special guest going to join me here in a moment, but I'm going to try to get something different, so go ahead and roll the intro.
Driving through our podcast where the mics are fake. And Bradys fake.
Welcome back to the Driving Through Our Podcast, Season 2, Episode number 5. Where more than mics are fake.
And we're even faker.
Today I have a very special guest with me. He is not only a co-worker, but a cousin and a car hobbyist along with me. This is my cousin, Brady Ramsey. And we've been meaning to do a podcast for a very long time. And if you guys...
A hot minute.
A very hot minute. And if you guys watch my main channel... You'll have seen him before. He's in a couple of those videos, but he's supposed to be in a couple of the automotive channel videos, but
somebody didn't edit.
I haven't edited, and you guys know that I'm not very good at editing, as I film a podcast and I have 3 channels and only upload to one of them as of right now. So, but I do it for you guys, all 13 of you that watch these videos, if that. I think I have 4 views on the last 3 videos, so we're getting there, but I'm trying to be consistent, and Isaiah's off dealing with personal matters, so I thought I'd get him on since I have to upload this video in 3 days, and I don't feel like filming it on Sunday, and I'm editing Sunday night and uploading it the next morning, so that's what we're doing.
It's been a long week.
It has been a long week. We've been building our grandpa's truck.
Yeah, 1984 F-150 custom.
Single cab, short bed, 2-wheel drive.
2-wheel drive. He has had. We've had this. How long has he had this truck? Let's see. It's been sitting in a shop. It's been sitting in a shop for 18 years.
And he's had it since 2002.
Yeah, this truck has actually been sitting, not running, for 18 years. So 04. And if it tells you anything. I rode to school with his dad when I was in like 3rd grade in this truck. So very sentimental to me. And
picture this. The year's 2003. It's a black custom pickup truck, black interior. It's on 20-inch rims.
With spinners.
Big, giant 12-inch subs in the middle of it. It's got a 347 stroker motor in it. This kid's in high school. Bump into the parking lot, and then there's a 3rd grader, 2nd grader, whatever, sitting in the passenger seat playing Halo on an Xbox.
Original Xbox.
So this was the definition of Pimp My Ride.
Yes.
And it was like a mix between Fast and Furious meets Tokyo Drift and Pimp My Ride, and so it's like a muscle truck that a teenager's got hold of.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandpa, he used to do all these sorts of stuff. He used to drag race, pull, whatever.
Tractor pull,
dirt
track race. Yeah, my grandpa has done everything under the sun. So,
he knew what he was doing, and for some odd reason, he decided to give my dad a built 347 stroker truck with a manual valve body trans, and just gave it to a 17-year-old kid to drive around, and told him, don't be stupid, but you don't tell a 17-year-old kid with 300-something horsepower to not be stupid.
If it tells you anything, for those that don't know, a 347 stroker is just a 302 with, I don't know how big of a bore, but a really long stroke. And it probably makes low 400 horse and like 440, 450 torque. So giving a teenager that, because I'll tell you right now, if I would have had something like that when I was 17, 18, I would have probably offed myself in the worst way possible. So you can imagine having that much horsepower in a little truck. I'm sure your father did some showboating.
Oh, we know he did.
Yeah,
we know he has some stories, stopping at stoplights, doing burnouts, and then
getting pulled over because the cop wanted to just see what was in it.
Yeah, and getting pulled over because the cop was two cars behind him and was like, "Why are you doing burnouts in the middle of Mountain Home, dude?" And
I don't even think he was doing a burnout. I think it was just because he was getting it. The tires had no traction, so it was just
that and the trans doesn't have the right. It didn't have the right stall in it. So literally, you would start it, bump it in gear, and it would just want to go.
Mm-hmm.
You had to start it in park, but when you would put it in reverse and then in drive, the truck would bump backwards and then forwards, and it didn't want to sit still.
Well, if it tells you anything, the cam that's in it has 600 lift. So. When you're running that much lift and no stall, it's just going to want to die when you put it in gear. So yeah, you basically, when you put it in gear, you got to go because you can't stop it, otherwise you're just going to kill it. But we've had that this week. On top of that, on his other channel, and if you guys have seen my channel as well, I've been working on my Blazer, my S10 Blazer, and got it running yesterday as well as Papa's truck. So we got 2 stroker motors running in one day. It was a great day.
I'm sure that made you feel a lot better about
yourself.
yourself.
Dude, I do have a video coming out about that, but if you have been keeping up with my channel,
I'll link that in the description below, by the way.
Then you would know that, I've had problems just every time I turn around a corner. And yeah, finally I went and just bought a mini torque starter off for a 96 or 97 Silverado with a Vortec motor, and bolts right up and spins way faster than a stock one does. And I have had 0 issues with that thing. It sounds way better. It doesn't make god-awful noises when you try to start it. And got it running yesterday, and it does not sound nearly as gnarly as Pawpaw's engine does because my cam does not have 600 lift. It's more like 444, I believe. But yeah, regardless, I got it running, and it's been a great week, to be honest. So I hope it stays like that.
The reason that's also been great, first of all, truck's been sitting. It's been sitting 18 years. We had it running one time, I think last June, to move it.
On like 6 cylinders.
On like 6.5 cylinders. And it ran, but not very well. But that was the first time it ran in like
a very long time.
A very long time. The right way with the right stuff and a new trans, and rebuilt the motor. And then his Blazer was being built, and it was supposed to be done in 3 days. Then it was supposed to be done in 2 weeks, and now it's been sitting for 3 months, and just got it running yesterday.
It hasn't been sitting without anything being done to it for 3 months, but it's been down for about 3 months. Now it's been sitting with nothing being done to it for about a month, but yesterday I finally went and had to buy a new battery, so went and bought a battery and threw it in there. Figured out almost immediately that my my distributor was 180 out, so we flipped it, and I kid you not, just as soon as we tried to crank it, it was trying to start, and I was like, oh god, yes. So yeah, I was super excited to hear nothing go wrong when I started it. Other than, I got to do some carb adjustments and stuff like that, but that's easy. That's easy stuff. You need a flathead screwdriver to do that. So
yeah, that's the easy stuff.
But yeah, it has been a great week with all of this going on.
Other than, this is
the monsoon of rain.
This is filmed the week prior. This is going up Monday. This is filmed the Friday before. So the hurricane's happening right now.
Yeah.
So that's not great.
It's like a monsoon outside right now, actually.
Yeah, we're in the top of Arkansas, at the bottom of Missouri, like right in the middle, and we're still getting hit with monsoons of rain. I can't imagine what they're getting lower than us and more south.
Yeah, it has not stopped raining since 9:30 this morning?
Yeah.
10 o'clock. Ever since 10 o'clock, it has just been either a steady just drizzle or it's been freaking raining. And the later in the day it's gotten, the more it just pours.
Which is great because I got to go to a football game after this. And it's going to be pouring rain, so
that'll be fun.
I hope I can find a raincoat. I think I have one.
Or get an umbrella.
Yeah, because that's going to help. Monsoon of rain. But yeah, I gotta be outside for like the next 4 hours watching a football game. But it's homecoming for my sisters. I have to be there. You know, it's whatever. But that's just life, I guess.
But yeah, so my engine in the Blazer, let's see, it was a 350 Chevy, and my whole Blazer just started out just being, I just wanted to put a V8 in it, you know, and because the 4.3, it was the V6 that was in it, it was on its last leg, 46,000 miles on it, give or take. You know, it's got the old digital gauge cluster, which the only thing that worked was the odometer and the speedometer. None of the rest of everything worked. So the engine was going out. I bought a 350, threw the 350 in there, and I kid you not, I backed it out of the shop after we got it running, and I would turn left, and it would just make this horrendous noise, like just metal on metal clanking and clattering, and I was like, oh God, what is that? Well, it turned out being the front differential had committed die. So, and then instead of, you know, being a normal person and just finding another one, I decided, screw it, let's put solid axles under it. So that became a whole 2-3 month ordeal putting solid axles under it. Got those out of a 81 K20. And it sits on 35-inch mud tires on 17-inch
You'll send me a picture. I'll put a picture of it right here. This is what it looks like.
Yeah, I will.
It's in a vlog, and there's a video of it running, but here's a picture of it.
Mm-hmm. And then
it was running on the solid axles,
yeah,
with the 350, like running great. And then he decided to pull the motor out.
Well, I pulled the motor out, and, you know, I had to replace a rear main, and to do a rear main you have to pull the crank out because Chevy and their ingenious designing. So I was like, you know, whatever, you know, I'll put new bearings in it, you know, just give it a fresh up, that way I know it's fine. Well, it turned out being the crank had been turned 20 thousandths, and it had been bored 60 over, and there was no signs of anything had being done to it. There was no stamps, there was nothing. And so I freaking put standard pistons back in it, and of course it's not going to run. Had to take it all back out, back apart, got the correct pistons, and bought better pistons than the ones I had bought previously. And then at that point I said, the crank was ruined from spinning with standard bearings when it had been turned 20 thousandths. So screw it. I bought a stroker crank for $200 on Summit, and put it all back together and got it running, and it sounds awesome. And finally I can get it all the small stuff worked out, and probably drive it for a little bit at least. Definitely not going to drive it every day because I'm sure it's going to get like 8 miles a gallon because 4-barrel problems, fuel toilet problems. But it's been a freaking ride with that Blazer. I never thought I would do all that stuff to it, but it's not going anywhere unless someone offers me an ungodly amount of money for it.
Which I don't think they will.
No, they won't. But that's the only way it's
unless
going
they're
anywhere.
out of their mind, it breaks.
Yeah, that's the only way it's going anywhere. Someone would have to offer me like $10,000 for that thing,
and then
for me to even think about it. So it's going to be around until it dies or I die, one or the other.
He has a very bad problem of having a daily and then being like, oh, it's just going to be my daily. And then something happened. He's like, oh, I'm doing this. I might as well do this and do this. And then it sits for 3 months. And then it stops running. And then he sells it. And then he buys another one that's supposed to be his daily. And then it gets touched. And then it gets touched. And then
yeah, I have a problem.
He's been like that since he left high school. And everything he touches either doesn't run right or it doesn't run for a solid 3 months. And then it'll run. And then once it's running, something else happens, and then it goes down, and then he loses interest, and then he sells it, and then the whole cycle starts back over.
Pretty
And you've
much.
done that for what, the last 6 years?
Yeah, I've done that for too long, and I finally got something that I put too much time and too much money into to just let it go to someone else.
Some of those cars that you had that you sold, you shouldn't have.
Yeah, like the Miata, the first one I had, shouldn't have sold that one.
Which color was that one?
Silver.
The silver one?
Mhm.
The silver one was nice.
A silver NB. It was.
You have a picture of that?
I do. I will send him a picture. Put that up.
For her. Silver NB.
I've had 3 Miatas. I've had the silver one. I had the green one, which was I named all of my Miatas Mia, Tia, and Maria. So Mia was the first one. Tia was the turbo Miata. It was green and it was a piece of crap. I'll try to get a picture of that one. I don't know if I have one or not, but I'll try.
If you don't give me a picture, I'll screenshot an old video.
Yeah, there is videos on that one. And then Maria was my red NA with the pop-up headlights. That was my favorite one. I do have a picture of that one, so. But I've owned like 18 vehicles altogether.
And you're
And
27?
I am 27. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Well,
I'm pretty sure a drug addiction would be cheaper.
I'm working my way up. I'm at like 7 or 8 already, and I'm 19 years old. And Nana keeps asking me what my problem is, and I'm like, I don't know.
My wife loves it.
I'm a car person.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I guarantee you a drug addiction would have been cheaper.
I think having a girlfriend's cheaper.
Yeah.
I can't spend my money on a car, but now I'm saving up all this money. I'm like, hey, I think I'll buy a project car or fix my square body outside, which is this square body right here.
Technical difficulties.
And we're back. So we filmed for about 4 minutes before realizing the card was full and the camera just shut off. So, but when the video ended, I was talking about my square body, which is, I already said all this, but I'll say it again. That truck is, I don't know what to do with it, because if I did it right, it'd cost me a lot of money, and I can get the motor running and redo the front brakes and drive it as a farm truck, and I would love to do that, but I want to do it the right way to commemorate my great-grandpa. But I'm not a 4x4 off-road type of person. I like street trucks, street cars, whatever. The weird part about the truck is it's a early 81, so it was built in like January of 81. So it was like a brand new truck. It's a 3/4 ton, 8-lug, 2-wheel drive, long bed truck with dual tanks and cruise control with a 350 Chevy in it. And it's just, I don't know what to do with it because it's an 8-lug, 3/4 ton truck, 2-wheel drive.
The 8-lug 2-wheel drive confuses me.
It's odd.
Because I had always thought that 8-lug was always 4-wheel drive on the old square bodies.
I don't know.
And 6-lug, I don't know. I don't remember if they had 5-lug, but I think they did on like Mustangs and stuff. They had 5-lug. So I always thought like 5 or 6-lug was always 2-wheel drive, and then your 8-lug was your 4-wheel drive. Because that's what my axles under the Blazer are. They're off of a K20. We think. Really, they're off of a early 80s just frame because there was no body on it when we bought it. And mine are 8-lug and they're 4-wheel drive. So I don't know.
I don't know. It's got 8-lug 3/4 ton rear axles and then 8-lug front hubs, I guess. And I'm sure I could hub swap the front and then axle swap the back, which wouldn't be hard. I just have to find an axle for a square body that is an 8-lug, which wouldn't be hard. It's just I don't want to do it. It's just, but if I do hub swap it and lug swap it, I can find more wheels, which I can find 8-lug wheels, but probably not what I want. Being
and they are cheaper. 8-lug, for some reason, 8-lug wheels are cheaper than everything else.
Which, if I keep the 8-lug, I'll probably just go like the route that people go. If I can find a picture of what I'm talking to you about, I'll put it right here. People doing like, it's like 20s, 21s, 22-inch like steelies with just like tires on it and just like slamming the truck and just like having it like that as a street truck, which would look good. And if I did that, they'd be white steelies, and then I'll just like clear the body and just keep the patina. because it's a long bed, and like I could make a long bed street truck, but like no one builds long bed street trucks. They're all
use
short
long
bed.
beds for work trucks.
So
and short beds for your your show truck, street truck, whatever you want to call it.
I'm kind of in a dilemma. I don't know what to do. The truck's been sitting for, I don't know if this was in video. I didn't check that far back. It's been sitting since 2007, so it's been sitting 17 years, 16 years, I don't know. But it's in much worse shape than our grandpa's because it sat outside for 16, 17 years. His sat inside for 18 years.
His sat in a shop for 18 years.
So mine's been outside in the elements, and has some rust, and the interior needs completely redone, and it's a whole ordeal. And I'll get around to it eventually. But if I ever did it right, it's going to cost me a lot of money because I have to redo everything.
Yeah.
Everything on that truck has.
I got lucky with my wheels because mine are Weld Racing wheels from like the either late 90s or the early 2000s, and I bought them. They're 17 by 10s, which back then I'm pretty sure most everybody was running 16 and a half wheels because you could get tires for them. Well, now you can't get freaking 16 and a half tires without paying a lot of money for them. So, he had them advertised as 17 by 10, and I, zoomed in on the picture he had, and it says freaking Weld Racing on the side, and I'm like, I have to have these wheels, because I already knew they were worth way more than the $300 that I paid for them. Anyway, I get over there, I pick them up, and I show my cousin, and he's like, do you realize how much these wheels alone by themselves are worth? I was like, no, not really. He's like, probably $2,500 for just the wheels. No center caps, no tires, nothing. I was like, ain't no way. So I tried Googling them, and I found something similar. They still make I can't remember the name of the wheel, but they still make them, but they do not make them in anything under a 20. They make them in 20s, 21s, and 22s, but they do not make them in anything under that. If you want them in the size that I have, you have to special order them, which is probably an extra $1,000. And
more than that.
To get the same style, which they have changed it just a little bit, but it's similar enough where you're like, yeah, that's exactly what that is. To buy 4 of them is $5,000 in 20s, and they are forged aluminum, which is expensive. And I did find a set on eBay with brand new tires. I'm pretty sure they had Super Swampers on them or something. And dude was selling the wheels and tires for like $5,500. So I was like, holy crap, I just struck a gold mine because I bought these wheels for $300.
Your wheels and tires on your Blazer cost more than the whole thing combined.
They cost probably just as much as the money I have in it. But I mean, yeah, my wheels and tires are worth more than the Blazer by itself. So that's crazy to me that's the best deal I've ever had in my life on Facebook Marketplace.
I don't remember who told me this, but someone told me. They said, don't spend more money on a vehicle than what you paid for it. And I bought my first vehicle for $1,000, and I was like, well, that sucks, because literally when I bought it, I had to put tires on it. I was going to put wheels on it, but I was a broke high school student that couldn't afford wheels, so I just put tires on it, which turned out okay. It's this orange truck, blue truck, whatever picture I decide to put here. I painted it orange eventually, but here's a picture of it.
Rhino liner orange.
I was an idiot.
Painted the whole truck.
That truck was originally going to get the 350 out of my truck, and then I never did it, and then I got rid of it. But this truck, I put tires on, and the tires were like $700, $800, or whatever.
Oh, there's your budget right there.
I was like, well, but then my dad ended up putting a stereo in it for me, so I didn't pay for it. So I was like, hey, I have an extra $200.
Upgrades, people. Upgrades.
So, but yeah.
If it tells you anything, my Blazer, I bought it for $1,500. I went past that budget the moment I put a 350 in it. I was at $1,500.
That's also part of the reason the 350 didn't go in my S10, because I didn't have the money to put it in there. I had the motor.
The only reason.
That's all I had. I have the motor.
The only reason that mine cost that much is because whenever you have a 4-wheel drive S10 Blazer, it's all the same thing. Same frame, same freaking... Well, the 2-wheel drive and the 4-wheel drive frames are different, but whenever you do that, you have to... If you keep the original stock front axle, you have to have an oil pan that goes around it, because you can't use a stock oil pan on a 350 because it hits and you're not going to get anywhere close to getting it in without beating the air-moving crap out of it. And you'll hit your oil pickup tube and all that, so you'll cause a lot of issues. So you have to buy a special oil pan, and they make an entire kit that goes around that front diff. And then, turns out that I just put solid axles under it so it sits taller than I am tall. I mean, I'm 6'3", and the top of my Blazer is, I don't know, it's probably almost 7 foot tall. It's tall. It's very tall.
It turned into a measly little daily that was supposed to just get a 350, and it's now basically a built monster truck.
It's basically a monster truck.
That he can't drive anymore. He can't just drive it.
I can. I can. I just choose not to because I can't afford 9 miles a gallon. That's what happens when you put a fuel toilet on a 388 stroker. Is it just basically just dumping the fuel? I mean, you kind of have to, because with how many cubes that motor is, it needs the fuel and all of it. So yeah, and you're not going to make one run off a 2-barrel. That's not happening. I mean, you might, but regardless, it's now a play toy.
That would have to be big jets.
Yeah, you'd have to put some pretty big jets in that thing. But now it's just more of like a Sunday driver car show play toy, go play in the mud kind of thing. And the only thing,
which is exactly what you need.
Hey, why not, man? I mean, every man who has a hobby has to have something to do, and it just so happens that my hobby probably costs more than a drug addiction.
I'm glad this is you guys, because it doesn't cost me near as much money as building something.
Recommendations: don't do that.
Yeah, don't build a car for a living. You'll lose all your money down the toilet. All the money you think you have. Even if you think you have all the parts in your garage, you
don't. I promise you don't. You can you can think you're fully prepared for.
If you think everything is going to do exactly what you think it's going to do, it won't.
It never does.
Ever. Unless you buy a kit for, like a good kit.
No, I've done that and it still doesn't work.
Modern kits.
No, they still don't work. Now on like newer vehicles and like the newer modern kits, yes. Those are meant to bolt on and work.
Like, It's Just a 6. I'm just going to say it. It's Just a 6 is a YouTube channel here. And they put a supercharger on a 2024 Mustang in like 2 days. And they just did a twin turbo Mustang in like him and one other dude. It's his friend Poe. They did it in one night in like 10 hours. They started at like 6 or something the night before. And didn't stop, and they had it running and driving out of the garage at 4 a.m. and they drove it to Waffle House at 4 a.m.
Yeah, see, that's the thing with like the new kits and like the newer Mustangs or newer vehicles in general is like they make kits that, and the R&D for the people who make the kits, they make them perfectly. Like you literally have to move some stuff or take stuff out, but the stuff they give you goes right in its place and it's meant to work with that vehicle.
Old stuff.
When you do old stuff, it's, hey, here's a kit.
Anything past, like, the year 2000, 2005. Anything past that is, like...
It's more of a, half of it's going to work, half of it isn't. Some of it might work, some of it might not. And most of the time, when you're working on, like, small blocks, especially old small blocks, and I'm not talking about LS, because I am so tired of people LS swapping everything they own.
Everything?
Oh, let's put an LS in it. I got a go-kart, put an LS in it. I'm so tired of that crap.
I have a lawnmower.
Put an LS in it. I'm so tired of hearing put an LS in it. For the love of God, put a small block in it. And I understand LS is a small block. Okay, I understand that. But I'm just so tired of that crap. Because everybody and their mother uses an LS.
Why do you think they made a whole thing called LS Fest for
Yes,
it?
I know.
That's
It's
so...
just stupid to me.
You go to LS Fest, you'll see everything.
Oh, I know. But everything has a freaking LS in it. And that I don't like looking at all these vehicles that I see. They're cool, really sick vehicles, and all of them have the same exact engine. I hate that. I hate it. I want to see variety. I want to see big blocks. I want to see small blocks. I want to see Ford small blocks. I want to see some Coyotes. I want to see some LS. I want to see a variety. I want to see an RB spinning Doritos.
I want to see someone put a 426 Hemi in a Camaro.
Yeah, that would be sick. And
you know how pissed off some... Like, you have a yellow, 68 Camaro just sitting there, and everyone's like, that is sick.
It's a freaking
You open the hood, and there's a bright Hemi orange 426 Hemi sitting there. Someone would be so mad, and I would love it so much.
I want to see someone do some crazy crap that no one does.
Do something that Tom Reefer done. He put a 65 Mustang body on top of a Honda Civic. He calls it Masu Tengu, and it was a coupe, and then he fastback swapped it.
Oh my god!
And it's a literal. It looks like a 65, 66 fastback Mustang.
That's bad.
But it's a Honda Civic.
That's hilarious.
That's boosted, and then he's putting right now. He has a project where he's putting an F100 body on an Escalade chassis, and it's going to be his new work truck.
Yeah, I just like seeing variety. I just don't like whenever you pop an engine bay and I see an LS, I'm just like, oh, whatever, because everybody freaking does it. It's to the point where it's just like, oh, cool. Like, I'm not impressed by anything of that nature. The only thing I've been impressed by LS-wise is the Mustang, because I have never in my life seen an intercooler that freaking big. You know how thick that thing is? I kid you not, it is like a foot thick. And I'm not talking lengthwise, it's thick. It is thick with 3 C's. That's the biggest intercooler I have ever seen, and it's a twin turbo LS in a 9, is it a, it's not a New Edge. Is it a New Edge?
Yeah.
It's in a New Edge Mustang. Which, and it's also the fastest hard tire car in America. Google it, it's real. And he's in a town near us.
I've seen it here in town.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've listened. He's got the transfer. He drag races it, obviously, and it is one bad mofo. And that I enjoy that. That thing's cool. But everybody else just has LS. That's it. There's no special anything about it. So a lot of people just run the same turbo setup, same twin turbo, whatever. His is cool because it's unique, and I've literally never seen an intercooler that thick. And just the way he has it set up is really cool. It's a cool car to see and cool car to watch drag race. That thing is fast. And but yeah, just variety. I like variety, and I really want to see somebody around here do an RB in something. I don't even care what it is.
You just want an RB in something?
I just want to see RB in something. I want to see spinning Doritos, and I want to hear the brat. It's like my favorite engine ever, aside from...
So you want to see a Nissan RB in something, and then you want to see a 13B rotary motor in something?
Yeah. Give me like an RB26 in something. Haven't seen one of those around here. Give me a 13B rotary. I can't forget what a 13B is a 2-rotor. I forget what a 4-rotor technically is.
I have no idea.
26? I don't know. I don't remember. But I would love to see somebody do at least a 2-rotor. I mean, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
And I have seen a few 2Js around in some pretty sick new-ish vehicles. But yeah, it's just I'm just tired of LSs. I'm sick of seeing.
It's just
LS.
because it's the easiest, cheapest option.
It's not though.
For most people.
Fight me. It's not. It's not.
It's really not. But
and it's funny. I forget the name, but I was watching another podcast, and they were talking about Coyotes versus the LS, and he said, I forget exact words, so don't quote me on this, but he said, you know, all these guys that do LS, and they think it's better than a Coyote. He's like, tell me one other engine that out of the box you can turn 8,000 RPM.
Facts.
And without doing much of anything to it, make 1,000 horsepower. You can't. Nothing else does that. And LS does not turn 8K out of the box.
Yeah, you can literally take Roush. All Roush does when they get the cars from Ford is they literally just bolt a supercharger and an intake on it and tune it the right way.
Yes,
and
that's all they do.
700 wheel.
That's all they do. They change nothing about the interior components of the engine. They literally take the intake off, bolt a Whipple on it, and tune it.
And people do that on YouTube all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people just literally just take it off, bolt a Whipple supercharger on it, put it on a computer, tune it, and it's making 800
for no reason. Nope. Literally no internal changing necessary, especially with these the way modern motors are built. They're built so strong.
So it's like, yeah, a Coyote might be more expensive than an LS, and of course it is. They're not plentiful yet. There's a lot of you know you can go to a junkyard find a Coyote.
I'm sure,
but you're gonna find LS.
Chevy put the LS
often.
in everything.
Yes, they put it in
every truck, every car, vans,
yes.
Escalades,
it's
everything.
In everything. It's like the 350.
Ford
in everything.
Ford put the Coyote in the Mustangs, and they
Trucks.
put a detune. They put one in the detune. They put a detuned one in the trucks. That's it.
Which is not even really detuned that much.
No, it's
because
it's got a truck intake on it and it's detuned a little bit. That's it.
Yeah, the trucks. So like.
And by detuned, I mean it's detuned for the air intake of the truck. Because intakes are different, the headers are different. It's literally like, it's tuned for
Same
that
engine,
intake.
different intake, different headers.
Yeah.
Or manifolds, whatever you're going to call them. But, for instance, the 2010 F-150 that I'm driving has the Coyote. It makes 360 horse. The only difference between that engine and a GT Mustang from the same is the GT Mustangs made 427 or 430. It's like a 50 horse difference. That's it. On intake and headers. There's nothing else different about the engine at all.
It's mainly the intake. The
Yeah.
truck intake.
Mainly the intake.
Is really restrictive, and the fuel is combated by that.
Yes.
So
it's just got a different...
more air, more fuel, equal more boom, equal more power, which is why the Mustang
More
makes
power,
more power
baby.
than the trucks. So, but
So,
yeah.
You know, if you want to turn some RP... Technical difficulties, number 2.
And we're back again. I don't even know what we were talking about in the last clip, and I honestly don't care, because I'm starting to get very upset right now. This is the first time ever filming with this new setup and this new camera and all that. The lights have shut off, I haven't turned them back on, and I don't care.
We'll get it figured out.
I'm going to figure out how to do this, and I have to edit the 9 clips this camera has taken by Monday morning at least, so I can upload this, and we have talked a lot longer than I thought we would, which is okay. It's fine.
Hey, we can talk more.
We will have him back eventually again, but I have this week covered, so next week you might see a different person. You might see him again next Monday. I have no idea. But hopefully I can figure this situation out and actually get this camera to film longer than 10 minutes and buy a bigger memory card so I can film more than 8 gigs of stuff, because filming in 4K is a lot.
Yeah, it takes up a lot of room.
But yeah, now that if you've watched all the way to the end, which I don't know if you have, and honestly I could care less, if you have watched all the way in, go ahead and go into the comments and comment fuel toilet, because that's the comment I want you to leave, and if you've gone this far, you might as well leave it in the comments. But Brady, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Go ahead, do everything across the whole board down there, and we'll see you next time. Deuces.
Deuce.
Wow, this really makes me upset.